3 months ago, Emeka happily introduced his girlfriend to his best friend, Emmanuel. Today, they're engaged. He found out the same way you're about to, through a photo on Instagram, sitting at his desk, living his normal life, completely unaware that the two people he loved most had been building their future on the ruins of his. This isn't just a story about betrayal, this is a warning. Because if it happened to Emeka, it can happen to anyone.
Fair African Tales. Subscribe and turn on the bell for new stories.
Emeka is the kind of man who believes in loyalty like it's a religion, the kind who thinks trust is the foundation of everything good in life. He has a girlfriend, Chioma, 28, beautiful in that effortless way that turns heads without trying, works in advertising, sharp mind, sharper wit, the woman he's planning to marry. And he has a best friend, Emmanuel, known him since secondary school in Enugu, 15 years of brotherhood, late nights, shared dreams, the kind of friend you'd take a bullet for without hesitation. Tonight, Emeka sits in his car outside Nkoyo restaurant in Victoria Island, engine running, air conditioning fighting the Lagos heat, and he's smiling. He's been planning this evening for 2 weeks, the night he finally brings his two worlds together. The woman he loves and the friend who's been his rock through everything. He checks his watch, 6:45 p.m. Chioma texted 15 minutes ago saying she's almost there. Emmanuel called 10 minutes ago from traffic on Eco Bridge. Everything is falling into place. Emeka steps out of his black Toyota Camry, straightens his navy blue kaftan, walks into the restaurant. The place is buzzing, soft Afro beats playing in the background, the smell of grilled fish and jollof rice thick in the air, waiters moving between tables with practiced efficiency. He's reserved a table by the window, good view of the Lagos skyline, perfect for a first meeting. He orders Chapman for himself, settles in, watches the door. Chioma arrives first and she's stunning. She's wearing this burgundy dress that hugs her curves. Her natural hair pulled back in a sleek ponytail, gold earrings catching the light. She spots him, waves, walks over with that confident stride she has. He stands, kisses her cheek, pulls out her chair. She smells like vanilla and coconut, familiar, comforting. They make small talk. She tells him about her day, about the difficult client who finally approved their campaign, about the office drama that never seems to end. He listens, nods, but he's distracted, waiting. Emmanuel walks in at 7:15, fashionably late as always, looking like money, which makes sense because his real estate business has been booming lately. He spots their table, breaks into that megawatt smile, heads over. Emeka stands, they do their signature handshake, the one they've been doing since they were teenagers, pull each other into a brief hug. Then Emeka turns, makes the introduction he's been waiting weeks to make. Chioma, this is Emmanuel, the brother I told you about. Emma, this is Chioma, the love of my life. He says it with pride, with certainty, with the confidence of a man who believes he has everything figured out. They shake hands. Emmanuel holds it just a second longer than necessary, but Emeka doesn't notice. He's too busy signaling the waiter, ordering drinks, settling back into his chair with satisfaction. The conversation flows easily, too easily maybe. Emmanuel is charming, cracking jokes about their secondary school days, the time they got suspended for sneaking out to watch a football match, the time Emeka tried to impress a girl by climbing a tree and got stuck. Chioma laughs, genuinely laughs, her hand touching Emeka's arm as she leans forward to hear better. They order food, catfish pepper soup for Emmanuel, fried rice and chicken for Chioma. Emeka goes with his usual pounded yam and a goosey soup. The meal stretches into 2 hours, 2 hours of stories and laughter and connection. Emeka watches them bond, watches Chioma smile at Emmanuel's jokes, watches Emmanuel listen intently when Chioma talks about her work. He feels proud, accomplished even, like he's created something beautiful by bringing them together. When they finally leave the restaurant around 9:30, Emeka drives Chioma home to her apartment in Ikeja. She's quiet in the car, staring out the window at the Lagos night, the streetlights blurring past. He asks if she's okay, if she enjoyed the evening. She turns to him, smiles, says, "Emmanuel is really nice, you're lucky to have a friend like that." Something in her tone makes him look at her twice, but when he studies her face, there's nothing there except tiredness, so he lets it go. The next week passes normally, or what Emeka thinks is normally. He's busy with work, he runs a logistics company, dealing with shipments and customs, and the endless bureaucracy that comes with doing business in Nigeria. Chioma is busy too, campaign season at her agency, long hours, weekend work. They text throughout the days, call when they can, see each other twice that week for quick dinners. Everything is fine, everything is normal, except Chioma mentions Emmanuel 3 times in casual conversation. Emmanuel recommended this restaurant. Emmanuel said something funny about Lagos drivers. Emmanuel thinks I should ask for a raise. 3 times in 1 week. Emeka notices but doesn't think much of it. Of course they'd stay in touch. They got along well. Maybe they're building their own friendship. That's good. That's what he wanted. 2 weeks after the dinner, Emeka is at his office in Ikeja when his phone buzzes. It's a message from Emmanuel. "Guy, I'm near your area. Want to grab lunch?" Emeka agrees. They meet at a local buka, one of those spots where businessmen in suits sit next to labourers in dirty work clothes, everyone united by the need for good cheap food. They order eba and egusi, bottles of maltina to wash it down. Emmanuel seems distracted, keeps checking his phone, smiling at messages. Emeka asks what's making him smile. Emmanuel says, "Nothing, just work stuff." But his tone is evasive, and Emeka feels it, feels the first tiny crack in the foundation. He pushes the feeling down, chalks it up to stress, to overwork, to paranoia. They finish lunch. Emmanuel pays despite Emeka's protest. They part ways. As Emeka walks back to his car, he sees Emmanuel standing by his Range Rover, phone to his ear, laughing at something someone said. The laugh sounds intimate, personal, and Emeka feels that crack widen just a fraction. 3 weeks in, Chioma starts changing her patterns. She's less available, takes longer to respond to texts, cancels plans with vague excuses about work and exhaustion. Emeka tries not to worry, tries to be understanding, but doubt is creeping in like morning fog, subtle but persistent. He calls her one Thursday evening, asks if she wants to come over for the weekend, watch movies, cook together like they used to. She hesitates, says she has plans. When he asks what plans, she says, "Just catching up with a friend." "Which friend?" he asks, trying to sound casual, failing. "Just someone from work," she says quickly, too quickly. "Why are you interrogating me?" He backpedals, apologizes, says he's not interrogating, he's just curious, just wants to spend time with her. They end the call with tension hanging between them like smoke. That night, Emeka can't sleep, stares at the ceiling of his bedroom, replays the conversation, analyzes every word, every pause, every inflection. Friday morning, he's at the gym in Victoria Island, running on the treadmill, trying to sweat out his anxiety. His phone is on the machine's holder, and he sees it light up with a notification. Instagram, Chioma posted a story. He slows the treadmill, opens the app. The story is a photo of breakfast, pancakes and fruit taken at a restaurant he doesn't recognize. There's a coffee cup across from hers, someone else's coffee, someone else's breakfast companion. She doesn't show who, doesn't tag anyone, but the implication is clear. She's not alone. Emeka feels his heart rate spike, and it has nothing to do with the running. He stops the treadmill, steps off, stands there breathing hard. He's being paranoid, he tells himself. She has friends. She's allowed to have breakfast with friends. This is normal. But it doesn't feel normal. Nothing has felt normal for 3 weeks now. That evening, he does something he's never done before, something he's always considered beneath him. A violation of trust. He drives to Chioma's apartment unannounced. Her car is in the parking lot. She's home. But when he calls her phone, it rings 6 times before going to voicemail. He waits 5 minutes, calls again, same result. He texts, "I'm outside your place, are you home?" and watches the message show as delivered, then read, then nothing. No response for 10 minutes. Finally, his phone rings. It's Chioma, her voice slightly breathless. "Hey, sorry, I was in the shower. What's up?" "I'm outside," he says. "Can I come up?" Another pause. He can almost hear her thinking, "Actually, I'm really tired. Can we do this tomorrow instead?" "You just said you were in the shower," he points out, suspicion sharpening his tone. "Yeah, and now I'm exhausted. Emeka, what's going on?" "Why are you acting weird?" He wants to ask if someone is with her, wants to demand she let him up, wants to confront this growing suspicion that's eating him alive, but he doesn't. Instead, he says, "Nothing, you're right. I'm being weird. Get some rest, I'll call you tomorrow." He hangs up, sits in his car staring at her building. At the window he knows is her living room, and he sees the lights are on, sees shadows moving. More than one shadow. He starts his car, drives away, drives aimlessly through Lagos, past Third Mainland Bridge, toward Lekki, watching the city lights blur. His phone rings. It's his sister Ada calling from Abuja. He doesn't answer, can't talk to anyone right now, can't pretend everything is fine when his world is tilting sideways. The next day, Saturday, he wakes up to a text from Chioma sent at 2 a.m. "I'm sorry about last night. I wasn't feeling well. Let's talk later." He stares at the message, notes that she sent it at 2 a.m., wonders what she was doing awake at 2 a.m., who she might have been with. He doesn't respond immediately, lets her wait like she made him wait. Around noon, Emmanuel calls, "Guy, what you doing today? Let's watch ball. Arsenal is playing." Emeka agrees, needs the distraction, needs to feel normal, even if it's fake normal. They meet at Emmanuel's apartment in Ikoyi, a luxury 2-bedroom with floor-to-ceiling windows and furniture that screams money. The match is starting, they settle on the couch with beers and plantain chips. During halftime, Emeka's phone buzzes, a text from Chioma, "Can we talk?" He's about to respond when he notices Emmanuel glance at his own phone, smile slightly, then put it face down. Something about that gesture, about the timing, makes Emeka's stomach turn. He excuses himself, goes to the bathroom, stands there staring at his reflection, at the circles under his eyes from lack of sleep, at the worry etched on his face. When he comes back, Emmanuel is on his phone, texting someone, and Emeka catches a glimpse of the screen before Emmanuel notices him and quickly locks it. But Emeka saw enough, saw a name, saw Chi, and his brain immediately goes to Chioma. But that's impossible. Why would Emmanuel be texting Chioma? Who's Chi? Emeka asks, trying to sound casual, sitting back down. Emmanuel looks up, and for just a second, Emeka sees panic flash across his face before the smile returns. Chi? Oh, that's my cousin Chinwe. She's asking about money I owe her. The explanation comes too fast, too smooth. Rehearsed almost. Emeka nods, says nothing, but he doesn't believe it, can't believe it, because everything is adding up to something terrible, something he doesn't want to acknowledge. They watch the second half in near silence, the earlier easy banter gone, replaced by tension. Arsenal wins, but Emeka can't even remember the score. That night, Emeka does another thing he's never done. He checks Chioma's Instagram, scrolls through her recent posts and tagged photos, looking for something, anything. He finds it on Emmanuel's page, a photo from 4 days ago, a group shot at some rooftop lounge, Emmanuel with 3 other people, and there, partially hidden behind someone else, is Chioma. She's wearing the same dress from her story that day, the day she said she was having dinner with work friends. Emeka's hands shake as he zooms in, studies the photo. Chioma and Emmanuel aren't standing close. There's nothing obviously incriminating, but they're in the same photo at the same place, and she never mentioned it, never said, "Oh, by the way, I ran into Emmanuel last night." The omission feels like a lie. He calls her immediately, doesn't care that it's almost midnight. She answers on the 3rd ring, voice sleepy. "Emeka, what's wrong?" "Were you with Emmanuel on Tuesday?" he asks, no preamble, no softness. Silence, long and damning. "What? Why would you ask that?" "I saw a photo. You were at the same place." "Oh," she says, and he can hear her mind racing. "Yeah, I ran into him there. It was random, just said hi and left." "You didn't think to mention it." "Why would I? It was literally a 2-minute conversation." But Emeka doesn't believe her. Can't believe her anymore, because the lies are stacking up. The coincidences are too convenient. The story doesn't make sense. They argue. She accuses him of being paranoid and controlling. He accuses her of hiding things. It ends with her hanging up on him, leaving him sitting in his dark living room, phone in hand, wondering when everything started falling apart. Sunday, he decides to test his theory. Texts Emmanuel, "Bro, I need to talk. Something happened with Chioma." He watches the message go from delivered to read almost immediately, then he waits. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. No response. But 15 minutes later, his phone rings. It's Chioma. "Emeka, Emmanuel just called me, said you guys had a fight. What's going on?" And there it is, the confirmation he didn't want. Emmanuel didn't respond to him, but he immediately called Chioma, immediately ran to her instead of to his supposed best friend. Emeka feels sick, actually nauseous. "We didn't have a fight," Emeka says carefully. "I just told him we had an issue. Why did he call you about it?" Another pause, another lie being constructed. "He was worried about you, asked if you were okay." "And why would he ask you instead of me?" "I don't know, Emeka. Why are you being like this? You're acting crazy." "Am I?" he asks, voice rising. "Am I crazy, or is something going on that everyone knows except me?" "Nothing is going on," she shouts. "You're being paranoid and jealous, and honestly, I don't have time for this. Call me when you've calmed down." She hangs up again, and Emeka sits there, phone still pressed to his ear, listening to silence. He calls Emmanuel immediately. No answer. He calls again, straight to voicemail, like Emmanuel turned off his phone or blocked him. That's when Emeka knows, really knows, that his worst fear is true. Monday morning, Emeka can't focus on work, makes mistakes on shipment documents, snaps at his secretary who doesn't deserve it. He apologizes, locks himself in his office, puts his head in his hands. His phone buzzes constantly. Messages from Chioma trying to smooth things over. "Let's talk tonight, I'm sorry for shouting." But nothing from Emmanuel, complete radio silence from the man who used to text him every day. Tuesday, Emeka decides to go to Emmanuel's office. A real estate firm in Victoria Island shows up unannounced. The receptionist says Emmanuel is in a meeting, asks him to wait. He waits for 40 minutes, watching other people come and go, wondering if there even is a meeting or if Emmanuel is just hiding. Finally, Emmanuel emerges from the back, sees Emeka, and his face does this complicated thing: surprise, guilt, annoyance, all in quick succession. "Guy, what are you doing here?" Emmanuel asks, not moving closer, keeping distance between them. "We need to talk," Emeka says, standing up. "I'm busy, can it wait?" "No, it can't wait." They step outside, stand in the parking lot under the afternoon sun, heat beating down on them. Emeka decides to be direct. "Are you seeing Chioma?" Emmanuel's face hardens. "What kind of question is that?" "A simple one. Answer it." "No, I'm not seeing your girlfriend. Is that what you think of me?" But his denial rings hollow. His body language is all wrong, defensive, closed off. Emeka steps closer. "Then why are you two always talking? Why did she lie about seeing you? Why did you call her instead of me when I said we had a problem?" "I called her because I was worried about you, wanted to know if you were okay." "You could have called me for that. You weren't answering." "I always answer for you, Emma, always." They stare at each other, 15 years of friendship hanging in the balance. And Emeka sees it in Emmanuel's eyes, sees the guilt, sees the truth. But Emmanuel doesn't confess, doesn't come clean, just says, "I think you need to trust your woman more, man. This paranoia will destroy your relationship." Then he walks back into his office, leaves Emeka standing there in the parking lot, alone. That evening, Emeka goes to Chioma's apartment. This time she lets him up. She's wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt, hair in a messy bun, no makeup. She looks tired, worried. They sit on her couch and she immediately starts talking. "Emeka, I love you, but you have to stop this. You're suffocating me, accusing me of things that aren't happening. I don't know what's gotten into you, but it needs to stop." He wants to believe her, wants to accept her words and let this go, but he can't because his gut is screaming at him, telling him something is wrong. "Do you have feelings for Emmanuel?" he asks quietly. She looks genuinely shocked, or maybe she's just a good actress. "What? No, he's your friend. Why would you even ask that?" "Because you two have been spending time together, because you lied about seeing him, because something feels off." "We haven't been spending time together," she insists. "We've run into each other a few times, that's all." "You're creating drama where there isn't any." They talk in circles for an hour, getting nowhere, saying the same things in different ways. Finally, exhausted, Emeka leaves, drives home with more questions than answers, with a relationship that feels like it's dissolving in his hands. The next 2 weeks are torture, a slow descent into suspicion and distance. Chioma stops initiating contact. Their conversations become shorter, more superficial. Emmanuel goes completely ghost, doesn't respond to texts or calls, effectively ends their friendship without ever officially ending it. Emeka feels like he's losing his mind, questioning everything, unable to sleep, unable to eat properly, unable to function. He confides in his sister Ada, finally. She comes to Lagos for the weekend, sits with him in his apartment while he pours out everything. She listens without interrupting, and when he's done, she says simply, "Emeka, you know what's happening. You just don't want to accept it. Let them go, both of them. Because even if nothing physical has happened yet, something emotional definitely has." Her words hit hard because they're true, because he does know, has known for weeks, but kept denying it. That night, he makes a decision. He's going to end things with Chioma, going to cut ties with Emmanuel, going to start over and rebuild his life without people who clearly don't value him. The decision brings relief, finally, a sense of control in the chaos. But before he can act on his decision, before he can make the break, everything explodes in the worst way possible. It's a Friday afternoon, 3 months and 2 weeks since that first dinner at Nkoyo restaurant. Emeka is scrolling through Instagram during a break at work, mindlessly looking at stories when he sees it. A post from one of Chioma's friends, a woman named Nkechi, who he's met a few times. The post is a photo of a hand, a woman's hand, with a diamond ring on the finger, and the caption reads, "She said yes. Congrats Chi and Emma." Emeka's brain short-circuits, can't process what he's seeing. Chi and Emma, Chioma and Emmanuel. She said yes, engagement ring, congratulations. He taps on the photo, sees the comments pouring in, sees people tagging Chioma and Emmanuel, sees their responses, sees Chioma's comment, "Thank you, I'm so happy," and Emmanuel's "blessed beyond measure." The phone slips from his hand, clatters on his desk. His secretary knocks on the door, asks if he's okay. He doesn't answer, can't form words. Just stares at his computer screen, vision blurring. This can't be real, can't be happening. But he checks Chioma's page and there it is, the official post, a photo of her and Emmanuel, her hand with the ring prominently displayed, his arm around her waist, both of them smiling like they've won the lottery. The caption reads, "3 months ago, I met my soulmate through an unexpected connection. Today, he asked me to be his wife, and I said yes without hesitation. Sometimes love finds you in the most surprising ways, and I'm grateful for every moment that led me here." 3 months ago, the exact time since Emeka introduced them, since he brought them together, since he trustingly handed his girlfriend to his best friend, since he created the situation that destroyed him. The comments are overwhelming. Hundreds of people congratulating them, celebrating them, and not a single person seems to know or care that Emeka exists, that he's the casualty in this love story. He reads comment after comment, and then he sees one that makes him want to vomit. It's from Emmanuel's mother. "Finally, my son has found a good woman. Welcome to the family, Chioma." Emmanuel told his mother, introduced Chioma to his family, made her part of his life, all while pretending to be Emeka's friend, all while Chioma pretended to be Emeka's girlfriend. Emeka stands up so fast his chair rolls backward, crashes into the wall. He grabs his keys, his phone, storms out of the office, ignoring his secretary calling after him. He drives, no destination, just drives through Lagos traffic, through Ikea toward Doi. His hands gripping the steering wheel so tight his knuckles are white. His phone rings continuously. He finally looks. It's his sister Ahda. She must have seen the post. She knows what happened. He answers, hears her voice. "Emeka, I'm so sorry, I just saw, where are you?" He can't speak. His throat is closed, words trapped behind rage and hurt. "Emeka, talk to me, tell me where you are." Finally, he manages. They got engaged. Ada, 3 months, and they got engaged. His voice breaks, and he realizes he's crying, tears streaming down his face while he's driving, while Lagos moves around him, while his life falls apart. Ada talks him down, tells him to pull over to come to her hotel. She extended her trip, had a feeling she'd need to stay longer. He drives to Eco Hotel where she's staying, parks haphazardly, goes up to her room. She opens the door, takes one look at him, and pulls him into a hug. He breaks down completely, sobs like he hasn't cried since he was a child, sobs for the relationship he lost, the friend who betrayed him, the future he thought he had. When he finally calms down, Ada makes him sit, makes him drink water, and then she says what he needs to hear but doesn't want to. This is better now than later. Imagine if you'd married her. Imagine if you'd made Emmanuel your best man. Imagine finding out after a wedding, after you'd legally tied yourself to a cheater. She's right, but it doesn't make it hurt less. His phone keeps buzzing, messages flooding in. He finally looks, sees messages from mutual friends, people asking if he's okay. People who clearly know what happened, who maybe knew before it became public. There are messages from people he barely knows, people offering sympathy, people who love drama and want details. But nothing from Chioma, nothing from Emmanuel, complete silence from the two people who owe him explanations, apologies, anything. That night, Ada stays up with him. They talk until sunrise. She helps him process, helps him see that this betrayal, while devastating, is also revealing. They showed you who they really are, she says. Chioma showed you she's capable of monkey branching, of lining up her next relationship while still in one. Emmanuel showed you he's capable of betraying his best friend for a woman he just met. You're better off without either of them. Saturday morning, Emeka wakes up on Ada's hotel couch, body aching, head pounding from crying. He checks his phone, finally sees a message from Chioma, sent at 3 a.m. Emeka, I'm sorry you had to find out this way. I didn't plan for this to happen, but I can't deny my feelings anymore. Emmanuel and I connected on a level I've never experienced. I hope one day you can understand and be happy for us. You'll always be important to me. The audacity is breathtaking. She's sorry he found out this way, like the method of discovery is the problem, not the betrayal itself. She hopes he can be happy for them, like he's supposed to celebrate their love story that was built on his pain. She says he'll always be important to her, like that means anything coming from someone who threw him away like yesterday's garbage. There's also a message from Emmanuel, shorter, equally infuriating. Guy, I know you're hurt and you have every right to be, but what Chi and I have is real. It's bigger than any of us. I hope with time you'll see that some things are meant to be, and this was meant to be. You're my brother, and I hope we can move past this. Emeka reads both messages multiple times, looking for genuine remorse, finding only self-justification and requests for forgiveness they haven't earned. They both talk about their feelings, their connection, their love, like those things justify destroying him. Neither takes real accountability, neither acknowledges the depth of their betrayal. Neither seems to understand that they didn't just end relationships, they destroyed trust in a way that will affect Emeka for years. He doesn't respond to either message. What would he even say? What words could possibly convey the magnitude of what they've done? Instead, he blocks both of them on every platform, phone, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. He deletes their photos from his phone, from his cloud storage, systematically removes every trace of them from his digital life. Ada helps him through the weekend. They stay in, order room service, avoid social media. But by Monday, Emeka knows he has to face the world, has to go back to work, has to function despite the wreckage. He goes to the office, endures the sympathetic looks, the awkward conversations, the people who don't know what to say, so they say nothing. His phone rings mid-morning. It's a number he doesn't recognize. He answers cautiously, hears a familiar voice. It's Kunle, another old friend from university, someone in their extended circle. Guy, I heard what happened. I'm really sorry. Emeka thanks him. About to end the call when Kunle continues. Listen, I need to tell you something I should have told you weeks ago, but I didn't know how. Emeka's stomach drops. What else could there possibly be? I saw them, Kunle says. About 6 weeks ago at Radisson Blu Hotel, they were checking in together. I was there for a conference. I thought maybe you knew, maybe you guys had some arrangement, I don't know. But when I heard about the engagement, I realized you probably didn't know. I'm sorry, man, I should have said something. 6 weeks ago, 6 weeks of hotel visits, 6 weeks deeper into the betrayal than Emeka even imagined. They weren't just emotionally cheating, weren't just developing feelings. They were fully involved, physically intimate, building a whole relationship while lying to his face. Emeka thanks Kunle for telling him, ends the call, sits at his desk trying to breathe through the fresh wave of pain. Over the next few days, more information comes out. Turns out multiple people knew. People saw them at various places around Lagos, holding hands at a restaurant in Lekki, kissing in Emmanuel's car at a parking lot, entering movie theatres together. Everyone saw and no one said anything. Everyone let Emeka live in ignorance while his girlfriend and best friend built their love story in secret. 2 weeks after the engagement announcement, Emeka's phone rings. It's an unknown number again. This time it's Emmanuel's cousin, a woman named Adaeze, who Emeka knows casually. Emeka, I know you probably don't want to hear from anyone connected to Emmanuel, but I need to talk to you. He almost hangs up, but something makes him listen. What Emmanuel did was wrong, she says, and our family is disgusted. My mother, his aunt, refuses to attend the wedding. Several of us won't be there. I wanted you to know that not everyone supports this. Some of us see it for what it is, betrayal dressed up as love. Her words provide small comfort, knowing that at least some people have moral clarity, that not everyone is celebrating the engagement like it's a fairy tale. But it doesn't change anything, doesn't undo the damage, doesn't give him back what he lost. A month after the engagement, Emeka is still processing, still healing, still angry. He's in therapy now, talking to someone who helps him work through the betrayal, the trust issues that will inevitably follow, the fear of letting people close again. His therapist asks him what he learned from this, what he'll do differently next time. He thinks about it, really thinks, and realizes the lesson is harsh but necessary. I learned that trust should be earned slowly, not given freely, he says. I learned that introducing people you love doesn't mean they'll respect you. Sometimes it gives them access to hurt you. I learned that betrayal rarely announces itself. It comes in small moments you dismiss, red flags you ignore because you want to believe the best in people. I learned that loyalty isn't as common as I thought, that some people will choose their desires over your well-being without hesitation. The therapist nods, writes something down, asks how he's handling the anger. I'm not, he admits. I'm angry every day. I wake up angry, go to sleep angry, but I'm learning to channel it. I'm working out more, focusing on my business, building a life that doesn't include them. The anger will fade, I know it will, but I don't want to force it. I want to feel it fully, process it completely, so I don't carry it into my next relationship. 2 months post-engagement, Emeka hears through mutual friends that Chioma and Emmanuel are planning a December wedding, fast-tracking everything, probably afraid that time will reveal cracks in their foundation. Part of him wants to see them fail, wants to watch their relationship implode, wants them to feel even a fraction of what he felt. But a bigger part of him doesn't care anymore. They're not his problem, not his story, not his concern. He's building something new, slowly, carefully. He's reconnected with old friends who were real, who offered support without judgment. He's dating again, casually, not looking for anything serious but not closed off either. He's learning to trust his instincts, to recognize red flags earlier, to protect himself better. He's becoming someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who survived betrayal and came out better, not bitter. 3 months after the engagement, exactly 6 months since that first dinner, Emeka sits in his apartment, looks around at the life he's rebuilt, and feels something unexpected: gratitude. Not for the betrayal itself, but for what it revealed, for what it taught him, for how it forced him to grow. He realizes that Chioma and Emmanuel actually did him a favor. They removed themselves from his life before he could waste more years on people who didn't deserve him. He thinks about the man he was 6 months ago, trusting and naive, believing loyalty was guaranteed in friendships and relationships. He thinks about the man he is now, cautious but not cynical, hurt but healing, betrayed but not broken. The transformation wasn't easy. Every day was a battle, but he fought it and won. His phone rings. It's a woman named Zainab, someone he met at a conference 2 weeks ago. They've been texting, getting to know each other slowly. She doesn't know his story yet, doesn't know about Chioma and Emmanuel, and he likes that she sees him as just Emeka, not as the guy who got betrayed. They talk for an hour, laugh about nothing important, make plans for dinner next week. When he hangs up, he's smiling, genuinely smiling, and realizes it's the first time in months that thinking about the future doesn't hurt. That night, Emeka writes in his journal, something his therapist recommended. He writes about the journey, about the pain and the healing, about the lessons learned. He ends with a paragraph that feels like closure. I don't forgive Chioma and Emmanuel, maybe I never will, but I release them. I release the anger, the bitterness, the desire for revenge. They have to live with what they did, have to build a marriage on a foundation of betrayal, have to explain to their children one day how they met. That's their burden, not mine. My burden is lighter now. It's just the responsibility of becoming better, of choosing wisely next time, of protecting my peace while remaining open to love. I'm not the man I was 6 months ago, and that's the silver lining in this tragedy. I evolved through the pain. Looking back now, Emeka sees the story clearly, sees how it unfolded, sees all the moments he missed. He sees that first dinner where Chioma held Emmanuel's handshake too long, the first red flag. He sees the week after when she mentioned him repeatedly, the second red flag. He sees the lies about work, the deleted texts, the unexplained absences, the defensive reactions when questioned, all the red flags he ignored because he chose trust over truth. But he also sees his resilience, sees how he survived something that could have destroyed him, sees how he rebuilt when everything crumbled. He sees that he's capable of healing, of growing, of becoming someone better through suffering. He sees that betrayal, while devastating, isn't fatal. It's just another chapter, not the whole story. The wedding happens in December. Emeka doesn't attend, obviously, but he hears about it through people who were there. A lavish ceremony at Oriental Hotel, hundreds of guests, all the extravagance money can buy. He hears that Chioma looked beautiful, that Emmanuel looked happy, that everyone celebrated their love. He feels nothing hearing this, no pain, no anger, just indifference. And he realizes that's how he knows he's healed, when their happiness doesn't affect his peace. What Emeka wants you to understand, what he needs you to hear, is that betrayal is a teacher, cruel but effective. It teaches you that trust is a privilege, not a right, that access to your life should be earned and can be revoked. It teaches you that loyalty is rare and valuable, that when you find real friends and real love, you protect them fiercely. It teaches you that your instincts are usually right, that the red flags you dismiss will wave harder later. That intuition is your friend, not your enemy. But most importantly, betrayal teaches you about yourself, about your strength, your resilience, your capacity to heal and grow and become better. It reveals whether you'll let pain destroy you or develop you, whether you'll become bitter or better, whether you'll close your heart or just guard it more wisely. Emeka chose development over destruction, chose growth over grudges, chose healing over hate. And 6 months after the worst betrayal of his life, he's building something beautiful, something real, something that's entirely his. He's becoming the man he was meant to be, stronger because of the breaking, wiser because of the lesson, better because he chose to be. So here's what I need from you. If this story resonated, if you've experienced betrayal, if you're currently in that dark place wondering if you'll survive, drop a comment sharing your experience. Let's build a community of survivors, of people who refuse to let betrayal define them, of warriors who chose healing over hate. Your story matters, your pain is valid, and your healing is possible. And if you haven't experienced this yet, learn from Emeka's story. Watch for the red flags, trust your instincts, build strong boundaries, choose your inner circle carefully. Not everyone deserves access to your heart, your trust, your life. Be generous with kindness, but selective with intimacy. Be open to love, but protective of your peace. Hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone going through betrayal, someone learning to trust again. Your share might be the message that saves someone from drowning in pain, that reminds them they're not alone, that shows them healing is possible. This is Fair African Tales, reminding you that every story, even the painful ones, has a lesson.